I was on Invisible Shackles today, and one of the questions that I asked was, what is your biggest struggle as a prison wife or a family member? And a few of the women came in, actually I think it was Gigi that came in first and said not being able to have his children. And then a whole bunch of girls came in and said that they feel the same way, especially lifers, long-termers, or women that get into their relationships when they're older, or their husbands were arrested when they were older, so they didn't have an opportunity either to have kids prior, or they met him while he was inside, and they feel as if time is running out. Now, my 40th birthday is approaching in a little over a month, and I do not have children. I've never been married before. Adam and I were reunited while he was already inside, so that's something that I've struggled with for a really long time throughout the duration of our relationship. So I kind of have mastered the art of this. And really quick, let me give you guys a background because I'm seeing some names that I've never seen before, so I want to make sure you guys know who I am. My name is Ro. I am the founder of Strong Prison Wives and Families. I use my years of experience to help family members and wives, girlfriends, fiancés, loved ones of the incarcerated get through their sentence, not only while he's doing time, but well beyond when he gets home, so he can get out, he can stay out, you guys can set goals, you can attain them, you can stay positive, be productive, and not get stuck in that revolving door of recidivism. So actually, I started to create content in my head for this video a couple of weeks ago. And it's because I was driving out to visit. When I drive out to visit, I listen to books on audio because it's 6 hours away and I feel as if I want to do something constructive with that time. I don't want to just waste it. I don't want to flip radio stations because that bores me to death and the drive feels like forever. And I always wanted to feel like I was doing something positive with this, so the prison system that unjustly took my husband away from me doesn't get to win. I get to win. I get to be in control of what I can be in control of. So I was listening to this book, and in there, it was a very sweet book, and the author was talking about how she's a mother. She's 35 years old, and she's the mother of, I think, 3 kids at this point, maybe 4 kids. And she was saying how motherhood is amazing and she wouldn't trade it in for the world, but it's really, really difficult. Giving up those sleepless nights, everything, your life just changes. And you guys that are mothers, please feel free to give me emojis or comments. I'm not a mother again. I'm not a stepmother. We don't have any children between us. The extent of my experience with children is that I have siblings who are 13 and 10 years younger than me, and I also have nieces and nephews, but is nothing compared to motherhood. I don't have sleepless nights. I was never up doing that. I was never, my life does not revolve around a child. When I have children around me, I have a cutoff time, cutoff day. I can give them back. So she was explaining how difficult it is, how truly trying it is. And for some reason in that moment, it hit me like a ton of bricks that I'm okay if I don't ever have children. This is something that I thought I was born to do. It's something I was raised by old school, off the boat, Italian parents to be a mother. That's how I was raised. I was raised, and I'm not saying I agree with this. I'm just giving you a background so you guys understand how strongly it was ingrained in me throughout my life that women were put on this planet to have children. So that's something that I always felt like I wasn't living up to something. I was missing out. I was kind of, I'm so at a loss for words right now, but I was not only missing out, but I was doing something wrong in life because a lot of us were taught. That kind of bugs me. I have so many medical problems that affect me. I don't know if I could have any. Okay, so just to reiterate, I am not saying that I agree with that theory. I am not saying that those are my beliefs. What I'm saying is those were the people that raised me. Those were their beliefs that they instilled in my brain. So I always felt like I was a lack or a disappointment, or there was something wrong with me, and all this crazy guilt, and like I was missing out because I've never done it. Not saying that I agree with it. And to be honest, in that so I always felt like I was lacking something. Like I needed this in order to feel like I was complete and doing what I was set out to do and my purpose in life, because I was raised that was your purpose. Do not agree with that. And in this moment, only a couple of weeks ago, and it's kind of this perfect storm. I'm driving out there. We were given all this hope for Adam, and then it was kind of crushed. And I will go into that in another video. I saw that somebody asked for an update on Demaya. I will come back to, I really don't have much of an update other than it kind of like they put the brakes on it and potentially are trying to slam the door on it. I'll get into that another time. But that, my 40th birthday is coming up, and it was this perfect storm that in the moment I'm listening to that and I was like, I'm okay with not having kids. I'm really okay with that. So it's something that I've grappled with on and off throughout the years. And it's something that used to bother me a lot more often in times of being hormonal, or I'm going to be really, really honest with you guys. So just know that I'm being vulnerable and raw, and I am not saying this in a way to trigger anybody, but I'm saying this in a way to help you guys, to help people that can relate to me, especially my lifer and long-term sentence women. So for example, during Lifer Week, it was amazing to see all of you guys and to see all of that support, and that's what we're here for. And 99% of the time to see all of these, I'm not 48, honey, I'm going to be 40. But thank you. I should say that. To get all of that support and to see that and to know I'm not the only one going through it. However, here comes the vulnerability. Sometimes that knocks me on my ass, because I feel like if we're all fighting for this same thing, and it's almost like we are throwing darts blindfolded at the moon, because how many of us are actually going to get that moonshot? How many of us are actually going to get our opportunity to be released? And is it the majority of us won't? And that's where sometimes, although that support is amazing, it also feels like it can send me spiraling if I get lost in my thoughts. And again, if it's that perfect storm of hormones, and then seeing too many lifers or something bad happening, or them shutting the door on a potential bill that could help Adam, and then they pull that rug out from under us, it just sends me spiraling. So it used to happen very, very often that I'd get really depressed about potential. Hi guys, I'm back. Sorry, my Facebook app crashed, which has been happening a lot recently. So I'm just going to keep going where I left off, and I'll let you guys hop on and then watch this on the replay, because it was kind of getting long and I was getting babbly. So I want to make sure that I really touch on all of the points, and I have a call in a little while that I need to prep for. So let's just keep going. We'll roll with it, and you guys hop on when you can. Hopefully the Facebook app is good now. No crashing, no nothing, and we have no problems. So really quick for you guys that are watching this video first, this is a part 2. My app just crashed, so go back, watch part 1 of this. It was getting a little bit wordy and a little bit, I don't know, running on. You know how I am with running my mouth. But I will get to the point now. Sorry for the Facebook crash. So really quick, I was listening to that book. I decided in the moment that I'm okay if I don't have kids. And that's something that I need you guys to do. I need you to soul search, and I need you to really think about if you are okay with not being a mother, if you're okay with never having your own children, and really, really think about that. Don't think about him. Don't think about anybody else. Nobody gets a say. Your mother who wants you to give her a grandchild, your grandmother who wants to be a great grandmother, him, nobody gets a say. You're not going to listen to anybody on here. Nobody's advice is valid when it comes to soul searching. I want you to ask yourself, will I be able to feel like I lived a fulfilled life when I'm on my deathbed if I never have a child, if I never experience being a mother? Then we're going to reverse engineer that. So there are many, many options that you can choose to become a mother. You don't necessarily have to have his child, and we'll get to that in a second. You don't necessarily have to have your own biological child. There are things that you can do. You can adopt. You can be a foster mother. You can freeze your eggs and see how long you're willing to wait. You can, did I say adopt? You can single parent. Or you can choose to co-parent with somebody else, like a family member on the outside that isn't necessarily your locked up loved one. You can choose somebody. You can choose somebody to co-parent with you, or you can go to a sperm bank and decide to do it on your own. But you have to figure out what it is that you as a woman and a potential mother want. Nobody else gets a say in that decision-making process. So for me, I was accepting of the reality of being perfectly fine and okay if I don't have kids in this lifetime. And when I reverse engineered it and I really thought about it, I, first of all, am not financially stable at this point to comfortably be able to support a child and myself. I do not have a family member who would be willing to co-parent with me if I chose to do it as a single parent. There are a lot of things and a lot of factors that I deeply, deeply, deeply considered, and I decided that I'm perfectly fine and okay. Now, financially, there are ways to go about doing it and having a baby and being able to support a baby even if you're not living like this lavish life. So if you feel as if you desperately need to have a child, if you can afford diapers and formula and a roof over your head and a roof over the baby's head and clothes for the baby, and food, you're doing okay. You don't have to, if I say live comfortably, I don't want you to think that I mean you have to live like some sort of lavish lifestyle and drive some fancy car in order to be able to single parent a child. So let's see. I'm just reading my notes to make sure that I get to everything because I took a really long time to write out these notes because this is something that I've really had to soul search and do, and I really want to help you guys with this. So you have to decide, you guys, if having a child or not having a child is a deal breaker for you. And if it is, and you want to have a child with a father who is your significant other and in that person's life and you're a couple, then that's a deal breaker, you guys, for your relationship. That is a deal breaker for a relationship on the outside. That is a deal breaker for a relationship even more on the inside. If you're with somebody who is a lifer, especially, or a long-termer, you have to decide if you cannot give up the potential or the ability to mother a child, then that is something, it is okay for you to move on. Because I think in our community as prison wives, not just SPWF, as a whole of prison wives and family members, we don't talk about walking away from these relationships often enough. And I think because we make it, and we try not to at Strong Prison Wives and Families, but the majority of people in this situation make it so taboo and they make it as if you're not strong enough to hold on or to hold it down. And I think that's insecurity within somebody's own relationship and somebody's own feelings, and it's projection onto other prison wives. Who said that you had to stay regardless of being a mother? But that is a huge, huge deal breaker. And if you need to exit this relationship because you feel as if you have to have a child in order to feel fulfilled in life, that is something enormous that he needs to understand. And even if he gives you a hard time about it, You only get one life to fulfill what you feel as if you need to fulfill. And being a mother and having a baby is a huge thing. He does not get a say. He cannot manipulate you. He cannot control this one. So if you need to walk away because you feel as if you need to do this with somebody who's a partner, they're physically with you in a romantic relationship, then walk away, honey. Walk away, because you don't want to regret that. You don't want to resent him for feeling as if he's keeping you there. Just be 100% honest with him. Maybe he wants to somehow stay in your life. Maybe he wants to be your best friend. Maybe he wants a clean break. You know, maybe he wants you to go on and do this. And when he gets out in 15 or 20 or 10 years, he maybe wants to try then. You do not know what the future holds, but what you can control is what you feel on a soul level you need to accomplish in this life, and then go out and figure out how you're going to do it. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. And here's another thing. I caught myself saying this so many times in the past, right? Well, I don't want to have a baby unless it's Adam's baby. I'm not going to have a baby unless Adam's the father of the baby. I don't want to have any other baby. I don't want to have a baby with anybody, with just anybody, or just any baby, which is a horrible thing to say. I want to have his baby. Here's a newsflash. I had to say this to myself, and I am saying this to all of you. That is a way for you to try to control the universe, to control a life that is beyond our control. Because at the end of the day, what you're saying is, I'm not living my life until he's home, so send him home. So I'm going to manipulate, and I'm going to hold off from something that I feel I must do and accomplish in this life until you, God, universe, life, whatever you believe in, send him home to me. However, that is not the reality that exists in your life. And I'm telling you this from the bottom of my heart. We got back together when I was 31 years old. I've been claiming that statement and projecting it out to the universe for almost 10 years. I am doing nothing but closing the window. The biological clock is ticking faster and faster and faster, and I'm running out of time. I'm okay with not having a baby. However, if it was at the point where I felt like I needed to have a baby to survive or to fulfill something in this life, then I would just be literally shooting myself in the foot because I'm trying to control something that I don't have control over. What I do have control over is becoming a mother. What I cannot control is Adam being the father of my child right now. Now, let me just make this crystal clear. There is nothing more in this world that I would want if Adam was here with me right now than to have his baby. But that is not a reality in my life at this point. And if I'm going to be 40, how many more years do I have to try to manipulate the universe and sending him home to me so I could have his baby? My God, I want to see him as a father. There is nothing I'm going to make myself emotional. Nothing that would light my life up more than to have him be the father of my babies. That is not my reality. That's not in my cards. He signed up for a 213-year unjust, unfair sentence, but I can't make them open the door and let him come home. I can't make him be able to give me sperm to have a baby. I just can't. It is not possible right now. So I needed to really, really soul search and decide if I want to have a baby. I have to stop trying to manipulate life. I have to stop trying to manipulate the universe. I have to stop wasting years and my potential good, biologically safe and ready years to have a baby. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have a baby in your 40s. It's something I would do if awarded the opportunity, if something changed for me financially, if it was something that I felt, if things change and I felt like, yeah, you know what, I really do want to do this, then it's not something that I'm closed off to. My mother had my youngest sister who is perfectly healthy at 27 years old right now when my mother was 42. My mother's mother had her when she was 48. It's so possible, but it's not always possible. And the older we get, we all know that complications can happen and all that stuff, and we don't have to go down that road. But what I'm saying is, if you feel like you need to have a baby, stop trying to manipulate the universe and say, I need to have only his baby. That's the only way I'm going to have a baby. And I'm telling you guys right now, somebody with an outside perspective who's not a prison wife had this conversation with me recently, and I got mad at first. I was like, screw you. almost cursed. I was like, you have no, in my head, of course, I just had to take a couple of steps back when I got the message from her. And she was being so kind and so sweet. And she's like, it's saying exactly what I'm saying to you guys. Adam won't be mad. He will totally understand if you feel like that's something that you need to do. And I'm like, you have no idea what I'm going through. You have no idea what it feels like to hear that from somebody who doesn't live it every single day. Guess what, you guys? I live this every day. And I'm telling you, she was 100% right to tell me that. She said it out of love. She wasn't being nasty. She wasn't being judgmental. She was saying, it is the most beautiful experience that I've ever experienced in my own life. She was saying this to me. If it's something that you feel like you need to experience, do it. Okay, so I don't want to dwell on that too much, but I've heard and I've seen that posted a lot of times, and I've probably fed that fire so many times because it's something that I've held on to. And it just came to me one day when I overheard somebody else say it, and I'm like, oh my God, we're all sitting here trying to manipulate reality and manipulate our lives, and we're wasting time. That's what we're trying to do. And if you're sitting here getting mad at me and saying, you don't know what you're talking about, deep down on the inside, sweetheart, you know I'm right. So you just need to figure out what it is you want to do, and then figure out what's the road you're going to take to get there. Will you be okay staying with him and never having a child? Do you feel as if you need to have a child? What will your life look like in 10 years or feel like in 10 years if you didn't fulfill this? What will your life feel like at 50 when you're in menopause and you can no longer have your own biological child? Will you be okay? Okay? So, let me just check my notes, make sure I'm getting to everything. Okay, so reality is the years are passing and your windows of opportunity are closing. Minus him being the father, you have to weigh your options. I weighed mine. I'm not in the position to financially, I'm repeating myself. I'm sorry. I'm just reading my notes as I'm wiping the sweat off my face. You guys, it is so hot in here. It's unbelievable. My hair is growing horizontally by the minute. So I decided that I am fully, deeply, and 100% okay with that. And you guys, here's the thing. You can't lie to yourself and say you're okay with that, because it's going to come out. It will come out eventually in resentment. It'll come out in some sort of disease or sickness or regret. You can't try to force yourself to feel like that. Genuinely, in my soul, I know that I'm okay with that. It took me a really long time to get there, but out of maybe fear of leaving him, out of maybe guilt of leaving him, out of any type of emotion that you're trying to protect, or maybe just a total fear of change and a fear of being alone again, a fear of trying to start all over again. Whatever your fear is or maybe, don't lie to yourself. Uncover the fact if you need to be a mother. Uncover the fact if you are wholly, truly, and deeply okay with never being a mother, and then reverse engineer. You know, you can adopt, you can foster and see if it's something that's even for you, and then move on from there. But what you don't want to do is lie to yourself. What you don't want to do is lie to him. You need to do this for you. As women, sometimes we feel that it's our mission to do this, and it's something that's just so personal to each and every one of us individually. Never let anybody tell you that you have to do something. Never let anybody tell you that you are less than if you feel as if you just don't want or need to have a child. Never make him make you feel guilty for wanting to leave and move on or have a child with somebody else and stay in a relationship with him. There are so many different ways that motherhood can be or look, especially with science and technology in this day and age. Don't close off your options because you are putting yourself in this little box, in this little prison cell on the outside while he's in there, because you're trying to manipulate life into giving you what you want. Because, sweetheart, as much as we try to manipulate, it's just not the way reality is. It's not the way life is, and that's okay. So here's a thing that came out in this book I was listening to, and it was a really big light bulb over my head. The woman was saying that every woman that she's ever spoken to as the woman ages. You know, whether it be on their 29th birthday, this happened to me on my 29th birthday, whether it be on their 39th birthday, this is happening to me, 40's coming in a couple of weeks, whether it be when they're 18, 45, 69, whatever it may be. Every single woman that this author interviewed for this book said the reason that she feared aging was not looks. First, was not wrinkles, first, was not weight gain, was not anything like that. It was feeling as if she wasn't living up to some sort of a potential that she thought she should be by this age right now. So I'm saying 29 was difficult for me because I wanted to be married by then. I wanted to have kids by then, and I wasn't. I didn't fulfill that little box that I had put myself in. 39 was starting to get really difficult for me, 40 approaching, because I thought I wanted to have children. I thought Adam would be home by now. I thought we'd have this whole thing resolved. So she suggested to flip that, and it's like really sad to dwell on what you haven't attained yet, to dwell on everything amazing and wonderful and all the things that you have attained by this age. All you're doing is just flipping your perspective. Celebrate those things. What in life? Wait, okay. I'm trying to read notes, act as if I'm not reading notes. And we know I can't do two things at one time. But hopefully you guys are getting it. So don't dwell on, oh my God, I'm going to be 40. I don't have a kid. Oh my God, I'm going to be 40. And right now I'm living with my parents, although that is still a little bit embarrassing. Right now I'm going to be 40. Adam's still inside. We have no tangible relief right now in this moment. Right now, I could have had kids by now. All of that. But you know what? I have a decent job. I have a thriving community on SPWF. I am an amazing freaking aunt. I was a state champion in fitness back in the day. I go to the gym all the time and outlift a lot of people. I just have so many other accomplishments and things that I have going for me. And you know what? There's so much more on the horizon waiting for me. But if I put myself in this little box and I get depressed over the fact that I don't have a child right now, then I'm missing out on all of the good stuff and all of the stuff that's awaiting me. So what if life hasn't worked out as the grand fairy tale that you imagined it to be when you were 8 years old or 20 years old or 30, 40 or 50 years old? It's worked out how it's meant to be, and you get to write the chapters of how you want it to work out in the future. That is all I have. I'm sweating to death, so I have to end this video and go cool off. But I hope that I use my experiences to help give comfort to somebody, because that is what life is about, using our struggles to give strength to other people, using our the things that have happened that are the struggles to pass along to other people so they avoid those pain and those hardships. And even if it's you're experiencing the same thing, maybe knowing that somebody else is going through it with you, helped offer you some sort of resolution. I hope that this didn't trigger anybody. I hope it didn't make anybody any more depressed. I hope it didn't make you question your relationship. But what I do hope is that it's making you soul search and see if this is the right relationship for you. And see if, sometimes you just need somebody to validate the fact of, if I'm not supposed to be with him anymore, then I need to let go of all of that guilt of leaving him inside, because all I'm doing is wasting more and more time where I could be out meeting somebody else and fulfilling my dream of being a mother. So don't let anybody guilt you. Nobody online. They don't get a say in your life. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't go to your trusted friends, maybe who you've met online, to ask them how they're feeling or ask for advice. People who do not want a partner in crime, or they don't want a misery loves company type of thing, and who are going to talk you out of it because they're in those shoes too, and maybe they're jealous, or maybe they're not strong enough to do it too. You need to go to those people who build you up and who will give you real talk. And I hope that this real talk helps somebody. Let me answer some questions, some comments. I'll read them, and then we will get going. Excellent advice to count my blessings instead of the things I don't have. Awesome, Junie. I don't think I can have any. I knew him since high school before I met him. He doesn't think, and that's okay if you don't want them. But if you do want them, just remember that having your own biological children is not the only way to be a mother. There are so many options out there. So if it's something that you feel like you need to fulfill and you don't have the ability to have a child, whatever that looks like, if your body, if something's going on and you can't have a child, or he's a lifer and you can't have a child, or anything in between those two opposite ends of the spectrum, there are other ways to have a baby. I have kids. He doesn't. He totally loves my kids. I'd love for us to have kids together. Naturally speaking, I've been fixed, but I wouldn't count it out if God's plan. Otherwise, we are okay. I can't see the rest of that comment. But good. I'm glad you guys talked about it and you're okay with it if it doesn't happen. I'm a mother. I had my husband's kids before he got arrested. Being a single mother is hard. It's taxing on your mental health. You can't guarantee your kids will be angels. That's just my opinion. Amanda, that's great advice because parenting is hard. Having my niece and my nephew for 2 days this past weekend was hard AF. So if you want to do it by yourself, nobody says you can't do it, but just know that it's not going to be an easy feat. It will be probably the most rewarding thing you've ever done in your whole entire life, but it will not be easy. Thank you for that advice, Amanda. Let's see what else. We do say when he comes home for many things, but you're correct. We are on indefinite hold, Andrea. At least you guys have talked about it and you know how it is. Indefinite hold is a really adorable way to write it. Is it wrong to only want a child with your man and not be okay with having and be okay not having one with anyone else? Gigi, I think I explained that. And I understand what you're saying, and I kind of a little bit hear that with my heart, because I am not counting out not having children with Adam if he's released in time, but I'm totally 100% okay with not having kids. Doesn't mean that I don't want children potentially in the future, but it means if they don't happen, then I'm totally okay with that. So I think maybe that's the gray area. So I hear what you're saying and I totally understand what you're saying, and I am sort of in the same shoes as you. But just to make sure you're not trying to manipulate the universe by saying that, because if you feel like on your deathbed you will regret not being a mother, then you need to reverse engineer that. Let's see. I'm actually pregnant and this was the plan. Husband is incarcerated, but I believe things will turn around in the future. Awesome, Nikki. And that's a good point. I don't want this video to make anybody, especially lifer wives, lose hope. Okay, so we have to find, maybe this is content for another video, but it's been something that I've been really practicing lately, is remaining hopeful and putting out there what I want, but at the same time being pragmatic, at the same time being a realist, at the same time living in the facts as they're presented in the moment, and being okay with that while still hoping for the best and putting out there what I want in the future, but not being Pollyanna about it, not being woo-woo about it. So I know that I always preach positive thinking and The Secret and all that kind of stuff, but you have to do it in a way in our lives as prison wives and family members that's realistic as well. Otherwise, we get ourselves in situations where, just like this, we could be waiting until we're 55 years old, hoping that he'll come home, and then all of a sudden, we don't have the ability to have children anymore, and it's something that we've wanted. So just make sure while being optimistic, you're being cautious and you're also being realistic. There's a fine line between the two. And again, we can get into that in another video. So now I scrolled up. So let's see what other comments are there. And then I'm going to go because it's really hot. There are 7 children between us. I'd love to have another, but it would mean getting tubes fixed or having embryos implanted. And those are great options as well. So, Angela, I love that you didn't just say, I'm fixed, the end, because you still want a child. You're saying, I'm fixed, but here are the options if it's something that we decide we want to do. Excellent. He's fixed. Got it. I think I read that wrong. I think that's it. Does anybody else have any last minute comments, questions, anything that you want me to talk about before we go? Oof, mosquito. Anything? Okay, you guys keep staying strong, keep loving strong, keep supporting one another through this journey because you're one day closer to it all being behind you. Lots of love from my heart to yours. I will see you guys in the next one. I hope that I've always wanted to catch one of these lives. Candy, I'm so happy you did. Yay, and I'm so happy you commented and I saw it before I hopped off, which I'm just about to do. So you guys just keep remaining hopeful, keep remaining optimistic. And if there's anything that you got out of this video, it is to soul search, know what you want. Even if you're with somebody who's coming home in 15 days and it's got nothing to do with children, make sure that you know what you want, that if you're looking back on your life on your deathbed, know and feel what you need to be fulfilled in this life, and then reverse engineer how you're going to do that and get there. And do not let anybody, nobody, stand in your way. Love you guys. Bye.